How's everyone doing? Welcome to the live with Celso Garcia. How's everyone doing? From New York City, live, right? Comedy is not what it used to be, right? All the late night shows got canceled. All the late night shows are being canceled because no one can take a joke anymore, right? No one can take a joke. As soon as you make a joke, people get upset, especially the politicians like Donald Trump and other politicians don't like jokes. If they could ban the joke, they would ban it, right? They say that's the old saying says. If they could ban the joke, they would ban it, right? That's what they would do, unfortunately. And forgot to hit, I forgot to hit go live on Instagram, like always. So no one can take a joke nowadays, right? Um, the comedians get canceled, right? Uh, all the comedians, they're like trying to yank their late night shows because corporate media feels that they shouldn't stand up to Trump. They don't want to lose, or they don't want to be taken to court. They don't want to be taken to court. They don't want to be um, held accountable, right? They don't want to be held accountable for what they do, right? Corporate media, that's what they do, right? Unfortunately, and we can't call them out because the owners of industry have too much sway over everything we do, right? Over everything we do, they have a lot of sway. They have an outside influence on everything and anything that has to do with politics in this country, right? They have an outside influence, oversized influence, right? They pretty much control the narrative of how things are controlled, what you get to watch, when you watch it, your work hours, how many hours you have to work to be considered successful, right? They control the narrative of most working people's lives. And so when people come out, right? I'm not gonna say that I like Tucker Carlson because in the end of the day, he doesn't care about Medicare for all. He doesn't care about regular working people that can't afford uh money on the in the pump, right? He's a high earner. In the end of the day, he's part of a different class than most people are, right? They got into the business because they were taken under somebody else's wing that helped them get into the business, into the broadcast business, people that opened the door for them. And I don't forget, like people like Joe Rogan, Alex Jones. I can't forget their white supremacist background, right? I can't forget that. I can never discount that, right? How they believe in a superior race and contribute to the whole idea that one race is superior to another race, right? And that is okay to oppress some people, right? And Tucker Carlson got a big lesson on that because once they try to cancel him and they kicked him off of the Fox News, um, he decided to go independent and do things on his own. Then he realized how hard it is for any person to make it on their own, right? Without big donors or big people backing them, right? It's not easy to make it without big people backing you, without big donors. It's hard to just do it with regular people, right? That regular people contribute to your program. That regular people send you $1, $2, $3, and help contribute to the program. So now he saw the reality that he's privileged and that he was privileged. And he also realized that he was pushing, simping for Trump. Um, and now that Trump is doing all types of atrocities, not following any norms, any rules, now he's embarrassed. But you pushed him so hard. And I said, why should we be able to trust your word? Like all of a sudden you're a reformed person. Now that you're in the outside of this movement that you've been part of for such a long time. You've been a MAGA supporter. You've been a supporter of everything that's bad in society, and um, just pushing people to the side, not caring, right? Now all of a sudden you care about the average person. You care about working people. You care about the regular person, and now all of a sudden you're woke when you lambasted and criticized all the people that spoke about helping the poor, just like Bernie Sanders, just like people like Bernie Sanders that now is a millionaire, right? So that's an argument that they make, but now that they pushed him to the side, now that he's not as popular as he used to be, now we're saying, okay, we should accept Tucker Carlson's apology. He's apologizing. And I'm Salsa Garcia from New York, doing the program, community activist, union activist. Um, as you know my story, I don't have to keep repeating it. Fighting the powers to be in my community and in the world, in New York and across the country, right? For equality and against inequality, right? What you could do is you can hit the button, subscribe to the channel, whatever channel you're watching on, subscribe to the channel. Right now, I'm sharing it on Facebook, um, YouTube, Twitch, X, Instagram, Substack, and TikTok, right? Um, Down below shows you all the different channels. Subscribe to all of them. Subscribe to the different platforms. So the day that they take me off one platform, I could go on the another platform and still have you as my guest, right? Still have you as my guest. And Tucker Carlson, let's get into it. Tucker Carlson and Greenland again. Donald Trump is talking about overtaking Greenland. He really wants Greenland. He's saying that he really wants Greenland. And it's like no one could talk him out of it. He says he wants it and it holds a special place in his heart and he still wants Greenland. He hasn't given up. So he's counting his chickens before they hatch, right? So he's counting that the Iran war will end. And then once the Iran war ends, then he can move on to Cuba or to Greenland. He can move on to the next possible target, right? So Tucker Carlson is like saying that he didn't realize how bad Donald Trump was. He didn't realize how unserious Donald Trump is, how Donald Trump claimed to be anti-war, how Donald Trump claimed to be for the working people, but and now you're saying, oh, I apologize to you, the people, all my past transgressions. Let's listen to Tucker Carlson what he has to say.
You and I and everyone else who supported him. You wrote speeches for him. I campaigned for him. I mean, we're implicated in this for sure. Yes. It's
I never supported him. I saw right through him, right? I saw right through him. He wasn't gonna lower grocery prices. He wasn't gonna lower gas prices. He's a billionaire that cares about making more money. He has a reputation for being not connected to the nicest people, right? And all the people he puts in his administration, Steve Bannon, Volt, most of them are known to be white supremacists, right? Miller, Stephen Miller, these are architects and leaders of the white supremacist movement. So how can you not know that he's a bad person?
Not enough to say, well, I changed my mind, or like, oh, this is bad, I'm out. It's like in very small ways, but in real ways, you and me and millions of people like us are the reason this is happening right now. Yes. So I do think it's like a moment to wrestle with our own consciences. Uh, we'll be tormented by it for a long time. I will be. And I want to say I'm sorry for.
He doesn't seem like too apologetic. He's tormented. He can't sleep at night. He looks well rested. Like, I mean, he's leading the charge supposedly against Trump. What? To replace him with another figure that you like more in the right wing, right? Because he's not right wing enough. That's why you don't like him. Is that why you don't like Trump? Because he's not right wing enough for your liking?
Misleading people and it was not intentional. That's all I'll say. But anyway, but the question does present itself immediately. Like, what
It
is
wasn't
this?
intentional.
Was this always the plan? You don't want to be a conspiracy nut, but like clearly there were signs of low character. We knew that. Yes. But it didn't, there are tons of people of low.
Hold on. I don't know if you read this document. Everyone read it. It's called Project 2025, and it's real. You know it's real, Tucker Carlson. So it's very disingenuous for him to say that he didn't know what Trump was up to. Now it's convenient to say, hey, I didn't know this is what his plans. I didn't know he was going to dismantle the federal government. I didn't know he was going to, dismantle civil service. We didn't know that he was going to use the military aggressively. We didn't know that he was going to do all these things. Well, we all knew because there's something called Project 2025, the mandate for leadership, which was developed for years, right, by the Heritage Foundation, right? The Heritage Foundation developed the the mandate for leadership and kept adjusting it over the years. And Donald Trump, as a matter of fact, is mentioned in it. And he admitted that he was gonna be spearheading this, and this was gonna be his plan for how he was gonna run the country. So now that's a reality. You're shocked at the things he's doing. Didn't he say he was gonna go door to door and have um, uh, people uh, dragged out of their homes by Border Patrol, by CPT, all these organizations that are going door to door, grabbing people. You saw Minnesota, you saw the disaster there, you saw the disaster in Chicago, the disaster in Los Angeles. Now you get the
Character who like outperform their character. It doesn't have to be
sort of the norm, actually, these days. I
right.
would say
I've outperformed my character a lot. I don't have especially high character, right? But you try to whatever you try your best. But what was this? Was this always the plan?
um I can't answer that question. This was always the plan to exert domination over the United States within and to exert domination around the world. Was it exactly planned the way it played out? Not necessarily. They thought it would be a lot easier, and they didn't think there was going to be much resistance as there's been. They didn't think there was going to be so much protesters and people that were not going to go along with the things that are happening. They also didn't miscalculate it, the Supreme Court, which has sided with them on many occasions. And they also didn't, they underestimated the protests and the They thought their poll numbers would be off the roof, right? They thought that they could have unlimited power and people would just go along with it. But now a lot of people are upset with Trump, upset with the Trump administration, upset with everything that's happening in the country. Not only war, but huge spikes in gas prices, in electric prices, in everyday necessities, right? I went to the gas station and I put $60 of gas, and the tank still had a quarter. So that means that it would have been 70 or more, fill up the gas tank. And I'm doing like a lot of people, driving less, trying to leave the car behind, walk more, trying to cut out unnecessary trips and not go out as much, right? And you can see it across the economy that things are not moving and bustling as much as they used to. You see that people are not spending as much money. They're thinking about it 5 times before they spend money. But those that are very well off are enjoying the huge tax break that they got. They're enjoying these tax breaks. But the average person is suffering right now. Is that the
Looking
plan?
back after the last year and a half, it seems like it kind of was. And it's easy. Well, you could get really deep about it and say, what was Butler? Like, how was it that and Ryan Ruth? I mean, he was subject to 2 legitimate assassination attempts. Have we ever gotten to the bottom? I know you've talked a lot about this, but have we ever gotten to the bottom
I
of
haven't
that?
talked a lot about it. I don't know the answer, but I know that those investigations have been stymied. Fact.
Yeah, stymied from the very top, from people
Right.
who actually would have the power to get to the bottom of it.
And the
you
motive.
feel it. Yes,
Right. Yeah.
very much. So the enormous amount of money he got from Miriam Adelson now seems suspect to a lot of people at the time. But, there's a lot of money in
$100 million.
politics. To run for president requires an enormous, I mean, Kathleen Camel Toe went through $2 billion in 4 months. So, sure, there's an argument.
And they still find a way to insult Kamala Harris, right? They're apologizing for Donald Trump. They're apologizing for the worldview that they're exposing. And they still have a way to attack Kamala Harris, right? This is Tucker Carlson with his brother apologizing to the world, saying we're sorry that we brought Trump on you because we pushed hard, right? They had a strong basis on Fox News, and everyone was pushing hard for him in the right wing media.
To be made that you get money from those who will give it to you. It's just the nature of that game. But it's still reprehensible, and it's still a big question mark. Why would someone who has obvious and demonstrated allegiance to a foreign power give Donald Trump $250 million while he's running for president? I mean, how is that defensible? It's really not. If Russia had given a PAC for Trump, if the mayor of Moscow had somehow, assembled an enormous amount of money and put it in a 501c3 for Trump's benefit, would that have been acceptable? Of course it wouldn't have been. So what does it's so basic, it comes back to the money. Like, what did they get in return
Show me the money,
for
everyone.
that amount of investment? And it's clear.
I get it. No, I mean, of
Show me the
course, I
money.
agree with every word that you're saying. I just think, given his behavior and his demonstrated disloyalty and viciousness to previous supporters,
Yes.
why wouldn't he display the same lack of loyalty to Miriam Adelson? I mean, that's kind of the question. The only people he's been loyal to are the neocons and his donors.
The mega donors. He's answering to the mega donors. He's not answering to his base. He's not answering to the people that help fund his campaign. The people that help fund his campaign are the only ones he's listening to. They're the only ones that he's responding to. He's the only one he's giving explanations to. They're the ones that he's taking phone calls from. And it's sad that these same mega donors are the ones that donated money to Chuck Schumer, to Hakeem Jeffries, to the Democratic Party leadership. So that's why the party leadership is tepid and is resistant to fighting for much change, right? Or even fighting for the end of the Iran war, right? Because Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer, both Democrats, take money from AIPAC. They also take money from Adelson or these other millionaires and billionaires or their companies. So why would they want to shut down what they are, when they're benefiting from this money um, for their campaigns, right? So let's watch one more video about Donald Trump, the warmonger, uh, and how he still insists that he wants to take Greenland. Right? He keeps insisting that Greenland is for the taking. The United States will take any land they want. Let's listen to this.
As
Yeah.
relations between America and its allies growing cold. Get it? But what's the real reason Trump wants it so badly? I have no idea what they're doing with it. Incogni helps stop them. I'll explain more at the end. So, as you may have heard, President Trump wants to acquire the island of Greenland from the Kingdom of Denmark. This isn't really anything new. He talked about it during his first term, way back in 2019. But this is 2026. We don't just talk politics anymore. We express our innermost desires through good old AI slop. Like this Trump post on Truth Social, where Greenland, Canada, and even Venezuela are shown as part of the United States. So what? Is America going to invade Greenland and take it by force? Well, Trump did tell Norway that he no longer feels obligated to think purely of peace in acquiring Greenland. And on Tuesday, he told reporters this.
How far are you willing to go to acquire Greenland?
You'll find out.
Now that's a chilling remark. Eh? Okay, fine, I'll stop. Still, these statements have America's allies worried. Greenland's prime minister said the island should be prepared for a possible invasion. Canada, meanwhile, has drawn up its own models for a hypothetical incursion by the United States. That's right, Canada, be afraid. Barron has his father's ear, and you just know that that kid plays a lot of Hearts of Iron. Don't go thinking we won't do a little map painting, but maybe we're getting ahead of ourselves just a little bit. The Pentagon says it hasn't been asked to plan an invasion of...
It's time to rethink
Greenland,
what a complete
right?
multivitamin can.
It's Greenland. He wants it still. He's not backing down. He wants Greenland. So why does he want Greenland so bad? Why does Donald Trump want Greenland so bad? Tucker Carlson apologized, but I'm just talking about Greenland right now, and we're gonna talk more about Tucker Carlson in a few minutes, right?
to have it. Again, map games. But if we're being serious, those aren't the real reasons. Acquiring Greenland is really about building up Trump's Golden Dome missile defense program. I did a whole episode on that, so check it out if you haven't already. Anyway, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent explains.
He believes that Greenland is essential for the Golden Dome missile shield. I think the president is worried that if there were an incursion into Greenland, the U.S. would be called upon to defend Greenland. Greenland's becoming more and more attractive for foreign conquest. And he very strongly believes that it must be part of the United States to prevent a conflict.
And that's a valid concern. When it comes to missile defense, control over the Arctic is really important. You see, contrary to our favorite map games, the world isn't a flat projection. it's a sphere. So in the event of, say, World War III, missiles don't just fly across the map in a straight line. Instead, they go up over the poles for the quickest route. This is the likely trajectory Russian missiles would take if the US and Russia ever went to war. And the same goes for China. And Trump's not the only one who sees this. The Czech prime minister recently weighed in.
A ten orešník by letěl z Ruska na Bílý dům 26 minut. A 11. minuta je právě nad Grónskem. Takže ty argumenty prezidenta Trumpa o Číně a Rusku jsou relevantní, ale...
Now, the question remains, are Russia and China really a threat in the Arctic? And couldn't the US just work with its allies instead of threatening to take away their territory? Let's start with the first. Russia has long been...
Watch.
So it's definitely he's paranoid, right? And they said it that Donald Trump is paranoid. He's been very paranoid lately. He's scared. He thinks that Russia and China are plotting to overthrow him, take away his leadership, and so he's growing more and more paranoid every day. No matter of fact that they said that he had to be removed from White House meetings because he was too hysterical and he was screaming at all the generals and all the commanders that were coming up with a plan for Iran, right? So he had to be removed from the room, and so the generals could talk and the military members could talk and plan out how to do things. And Donald Trump, all he did was threaten to fire people and scream at them. And so, do you think that this is what happened? Is this the start of the game? Uh, is this the insider game that we haven't heard about? Okay, let's keep watching.
Nuclear submarines, and nuclear-powered icebreaker ships. And China wants in on the action too, declaring itself a near-Arctic state. So the two of them have teamed up to form what they're calling the Northern Sea Route. It's a sort of Belt and Road, but for the Arctic. And as we all know, wherever the Belt and Road goes, so does the Chinese military. So yeah, having a foothold in the Arctic is important for American security. But that leads us to the second question. What about America's allies? Can't we all just cooperate in defending Greenland? Maybe, but maybe not. Let's put aside the fact that America's already footing the vast majority of NATO's spending. The real question is whether or not American allies in Europe and Canada are reliable. You have Britain approving a Chinese mega embassy in London's financial district, despite...
And embassies and the foreign countries are looking for a reliable partner. And they've seen Donald Trump to not be so reliable, so they're betraying him and the United States, and they're saying, "Hey, maybe we could depend on China. China's more stable. China's not going to invade us. China doesn't have the same goals and the same capabilities. They don't want to overthrow our government." And so they're more of a reliable partner in the region. So this drives a lot of European allies that were traditionally NATO allies to reconsider who our allies are, right? Who are our allies? Who can we trust, right? Who can we trust? They feel like they can't trust America, so they're gonna move on, right?
obvious threats to national security. as well as handing off key U.S. military locations like Diego Garcia to Chinese allies. Trump was none too happy about that one. Then you have France demanding China sink its claws even deeper into Europe.
China is welcome, but what we need is more Chinese foreign direct investment in Europe.
And even more worrying, you have Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney going to China and saying stuff like this.
I believe the progress that we have made in the partnership sets us up well for the new world order.
Okay, first, does he really need to use the term New World Order?
And so even Canada has decided that they're going to cut the United States out, right? China has even decided to cut the United States out from their dealings, right? And Canada, Japan, Korea, South Korea, and other trade partners have found how to find a way to cut the United States out because all that Donald Trump does is threaten NATO. All Donald Trump does is go after allies like Denmark instead of trying to help them, right? It puts them in a bind. Could we trust a man that at any moment could turn on us and switch sides? Or should we go for the more stable leadership, right? So
Conspiracy theorists
fine.
have enough on their plates with the whole Earth's gravity disappearing thing. Second, you just can't say that stuff, man. Are you trying to get Maduro'd? So between Europe kowtowing to China and the Canadian New World Order, it may be wise for America to set up a forward position on Greenland without the help of its allies. We'll have to wait and see if an agreement can be reached, but failing that, well, we could always do a little map painting. What do you think? Leave your comments below. They can.
So it's just a reality, right? That's the world we're living in, where the United States used to be the stable ally that you can trust to work with you and not betray you, right? So now it turns out that supposedly now they're saying the top MAGA influencer is AI, right? This is the top MAGA influencer, right? So is MAGA just a big act? People just act and they just thinking what they're gonna get out of it. And so top MAGA influencer revealed to be AI, created by a guy in India who made it just to make money, right? Drop a drop a flag if you agree. So supposedly this is a real MAGA influencer, but this person does not exist. This MAGA influencer does not exist. He's not real. He's just AI, and you could tell. See the difference? There's a lot of like inconsistencies in in the way she appears, right? A lot of inconsistencies. So she's not even a real person, and people are sending her money, and it's just a guy in India making a whole bunch of money off of the gullibility of Donald Trump supporters, right? The gullibility of Donald Trump supporters. It's sad but true, right? Sad but true. Okay, so let's move on to the next thing. Man, how you feel, MAGA supporters, that you've been sending your money to this person that's not real, right? To this MAGA influencer that you saw was real, and it's no longer, it's not real, right? How you feel? You've been sending all your money to this guy in India, according to the New York Post. This is the story that they just did on this. This is a story they just did on this, right? The MAGA influencer, right? Can you believe it? Can you believe that this is true? That believe that this is true? That there's a MAGA influencer that is just doing whatever she wants. That there's a MAGA influencer that's just doing whatever she wants. But it's really a guy in India asking for donations, and everyone is just sending him donations, and they track the IP address, and it's to India, right? How do you feel? Is a lot of MAGA a scam? Is a lot of MAGA a scam? Is it a scam, people? How you feel about that? Don't you find this unbelievable that this happened? That she's not even real? The New York Post traced this person to India. Man, is it easy to scam MAGA influencers or MAGA people that have a little bit of extra money that believe in white supremacy or believe in the superiority of the white race? And all of them wanted to mate with her. All of them are like, that's the dream girl. MAGA, she supports Trump. She supports us. So we should support her, right? This is what people in the MAGA world do, right? Unfortunately, get scammed. How could they get scammed so easily? Crazy, right? So these are the things that we gotta look out for as human beings. Thank you for joining me, everyone. Hit the like button, hit the share button, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, X, Twitch, Substack, and TikTok. Hit the like button, hit the share button. Let's get this program off the ground. Let's get it running. Thanks to your help, thanks to your assistance. I have the Cash App there. You can send me money instead. You know I'm a man in New York, in the United States. So stop sending your money to India, people. Right? You know, are you upset yet? You want your money back? You want a refund? I don't think they give refunds, right? I don't think they give refunds. But they set it up nicely. That MAGA fell for it real bad, right? MAGA fell for it real bad. So former Secretary of Labor, talk about Secretary of Labor. The Secretary of Labor just resigned, the federal Department of Labor just resigned. Big scandal. He pretty much was smoozing with her security detail. Sound familiar? Um, so Robert Reich just came out and said that in New York, Governor Hochul should give a huge tax, should consider taxing the rich, considering the fact that the rich got a very huge tax cut, right? They got a huge tax cut, $1 trillion tax cut for the rich. Trump's mega bill pays for tax cuts for the top 1%, which cuts to Medicaid and other vital programs. Tax cuts for the rich is 1% over the next 10 years is $1 trillion. Cuts to Medicaid over the next 10 years is $930 billion. So, um, cutting healthcare to the max, cutting it to the minimum, to the bone, to fund billionaires, right? And I don't think this includes um, the military spending, the additional military spending. We're going to spend additional military spending that cannot be defended, right? Additional military spending that's going to gut into the safety net programs even more. So if you're a person that depends on Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, these areas, and most of the people taking these programs are in MAGA counties, in red states. So look at the reality. Look at the reality if you lose your health care, right? If you lose your health care because you want to help the rich, right? It's opportunistic, right? So Robert Reich shared that. I appreciate all the people joining me. And the Onion did by Alex Jones, right? So a lot of people upset, right? A lot of people upset about the social service programs being gutted across the United States, right? A lot of people upset about that. So there goes your mega influencer. So this was part of his.
It's not enough to say, well, I changed my mind, or like, oh, this is bad, I'm out. It's like in very small ways, but in real ways, you and me and millions of people like us are the reason this is happening right now.
Yes.
So I do think it's like a moment to wrestle with our own consciences. We'll be tormented by it for a long time. I will be. And I want to say I'm sorry for misleading people. It was not intentional. That's all. You and I and everyone else who supported.
It wasn't intentional. I keep watching this clip over and over, play it over and over, and it's like so disingenuous. It wasn't intentional. He didn't mean to deceive anyone. Yeah, he knew how Trump was. He knew from dealing with him how aggressive he was, how he wanted everything his way, right? Trump said it over and over. This time around was going to be a revenge tour. He was going to go after all his political enemies at all levels of government, right? All levels of government. Share everyone, share the video, hit the like button, help out the program with the Cash App, $ Old Man Labor, $ Old Man Labor. Um, let's see, one more thing. So I've been fighting for labor for a few years, right? For workers. And so I'm gonna share with you um, my GoFundMe page that I think is important. Um, Trying to raise funds for a lawsuit that I have going, two lawsuits, two different cases. I've written stories about this, the corruption in the MTA, Metropolitan Transportation Authority, the largest transit agency in the United States. I wrote about it and I wrote several articles and also collaborated with reporters. I wrote about 10 different op-eds on the MTA, the Metropolitan Transportation Authority, and the corruption inside of the agency, which is the state agency in New York that gets about $48 billion in funding, right? The largest transit agency in the United States. And I pointed this out, and as a result, they started to attack me. So, as a result of my stance on going against corruption, right? I recorded this one video and
I
many
wanted to
more. Um, and so, let me share the link where you could donate, or you could send it to the Cash App, uh, or you could just donate to the link I just put in the comments, right? The link I just put in the comments, right? GoFundMe, GoFundMe, 8A3CEBB67. GoFundMe 8A3CEBB67. All right, thank you. Let me just play the video, fundraising video. Nothing could be done without you, right? Nothing could be done without the people that support me. All right, so let's see.
Thank you all who donated to the GoFundMe. I was able to retain an attorney thanks to your help. Thank you for your help. Thank you for your well wishes. And thank you for supporting me in these difficult times. I appreciate you. Suspended, terminated, but not defeated. Thank you so much.
So I know how it is to fight against the establishment. Get deep in there and fight against those entities that have been corrupted, that have been easily turned against workers and turned against regular people, right? Easily turned. They pretty much reneged on their responsibility to um everything, right? So according to a biographer in the Daily Beast, he's saying that I know exactly who's planning to take Trump's job, the biographer said, right? That there's a war brewing to see who will replace Donald Trump, right? That there's a MAGA war, right? Fighting for who can take over Trump's whole presidency. Uh, okay. So they're saying they could got inside Trump's head and they know what he's thinking, supposedly. Let's listen to what this person has to say, right? I'm holding my breath. Right?
If he's not the president or running for president. So that's what's going to continue to be Donald Trump. And the catch here is that it's going to be very hard for him to continue to be Donald Trump if
he's not president.
He's not the president or running for president. So that's what's going to be start to be in his head. How does he find a successor or potential successor who will who will complement what he wants, which is his own continuing purpose and grandeur and identity and celebrity and power?
Well, arguably, he's not going to want anybody then.
Yes.
Or he's going to want the Republicans to lose so that he can say, I am your savior.
Absolutely. The logical, working this out logically is that he would, whoever is the nominee, and he will hobble anyone.
So he's gonna sabotage anyone. Like with JD Vance, didn't he sabotage the negotiations kind of by putting out tweets and threats against Iran? And then they backed down out of peace talk. Right? Even though Donald Trump extended the ceasefire, he wants to be in charge and he wants to be in control. Right? That's his plan.
Trying to be the nominee, but whoever is the nominee, he will then undermine. They will lose. The Democrat will win. Donald Trump will go back to Mar-a-Lago and yet be the once and future president. But before we get to that point, let's start to work out what happens over the next, really beginning after November, beginning now. I mean, everybody is already sort of trying clearly pivoting, clearly putting themselves into the
Or is MAGA trying to pivot away from Donald Trump? And this is what Tucker Carlson's doing. He's pivoting away from Donald Trump because he knows Donald Trump's stock is going down. They know that Donald Trump is now a lame duck president. He no longer has to worry about another term. So he's considered a lame duck president. As much as he says he's not, but he is. Thank you. So let's keep watching Michael Wolff on Donald Trump. Do you agree with him? Do you agree with Michael Wolff, the biographer of Donald Trump that has had a lot of conversations with him over the years and has known him for some time? What do you think? You think he's right? That doesn't mean they like each other, right?
Into the positioning themselves. So,
well, and he's already positioning them against each other. This is something he's always done, but we saw him put in, after JD Vance failed to come back from Pakistan with any progress on the talks with Iran, Marco Rubio was up last week to go in and pick up where JD Vance left off. So Trump loves playing people off against each other. It's a way of managing power. And now they're all going to be thinking, how do I get the big job? Who is my base? How do I get the Trumpers on my side?
Right. And
it's kind of sad. Trumpers will never get on the side of Democrats or moderates. They will always vote red. So they could say whatever they want to say. But from what I see, I don't think it's going to work out. Right? Let's keep listening.
How do I survive Donald Trump and in these last years as he turns more and more unpopular, if not toxic, if not anathema to a whole new section of voters?
Right. Or if we use the New York Times word, erratic. Because he
Yeah.
may support one person one day and then another person another day. And who knows if
Can't
his
strategize.
badge of
He can't strategize who he supports, who he doesn't support, and that's just the reality. Thank you.
approval is good or bad for candidates.
Yeah, no, and let's think about who would Donald Trump want for his own purposes, because that will be a key factor, I think, in who gets this this nomination, or it may work actually against that person, but it's going to be a factor.
Thanks to our production team, Devon Rogerino, Ryan Murray, Rachel Passer.
Oh, do you agree with them? That Trump is just a narcissist and just wants attention. And isn't that kind of what Tucker Carlson
Him,
said?
you wrote speeches for him. I campaigned for him. I mean, we're implicated in this for sure.
Yes.
It's not enough to say, well, I changed my mind, or like, oh, this is bad, I'm out. It's like in very small ways, but in real ways, you and me and millions of people like us are the reason this is happening right now.
Yes.
So I do think it's like a moment to wrestle with our own consciences. We'll be tormented by it for a long time. I will be. And I want to say I'm sorry for misleading people. It was not intentional. That's all. You and I and everyone else who supported him, you wrote speeches for him. I campaigned for him. I mean, we're implicated in this for sure.
Yes.
It's not enough to say, well, I changed my mind, or like, oh, this is bad, I'm out. It's like in very small ways, but in real ways, you and me and millions of people like us are the reason this is happening right now.
Yes.
So I do think it's like a moment to wrestle with our own consciences. We'll be tormented by it for a long time. I will be. And I want to say I'm sorry for misleading people. It was not intentional. That's all. You and I and everyone else who supported him, you wrote speeches for him. I campaigned for him. I mean, we're implicated in this for sure.
Yes.
It's not enough to say, well, I changed my mind, or like, oh, this is bad, I'm out. It's like in very small ways, but in real ways, you and me and millions of people like us are the reason this is happening right now.
Yes.
So I do think it's like a moment to wrestle with our own consciences. We'll be tormented by it for a long time. I will be. And I want to say I'm sorry for misleading people. It was not intentional. That's all. You and I and everyone else who supported him, you wrote speeches for him. I campaigned for him. I mean, we're implicated in this for sure.
Yes.
It's not enough to say, well, I changed my mind, or like, oh, this is bad, I'm out. It's like in very small ways, but in real ways, you and me and millions of people like us are the reason this is happening right now.
Yes.
So I do think it's like a moment to wrestle with our own consciences.
There's no wrestling. You're either for war or against war. You don't want more soldiers being unalive, people that you work with or live with, or in the neighborhood of New York. I would not think that Tucker Carlson is genuine, or I mean, I don't understand.
We'll be tormented by it for a long
think you
time.
mean
I
to
will be.
say?
And I want to say I'm sorry for misleading people. It was not intentional. That's all. You and I and everyone else who supported him, you wrote speeches for him. I campaigned for him. I mean, we're implicated in this for sure.
Yes.
It's not enough to say, well, I changed my mind, or like, oh, this is bad, I'm out. It's like in very small ways, but in real ways, you and me and millions of people like us are the reason this is happening right now.
Yes.
So I do think it's like a moment to wrestle with our own consciences. We'll be tormented by it for a long time. I will be. And I want to say I'm sorry for misleading people. It was not intentional. That's all. You and I and everyone.
I don't know that line. It wasn't intentional. But you misled everyone, and you told people vote for Trump, and you pushed his video. and you pushed this message across the board. And now you're telling us, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know he was gonna be like this. I didn't know he was gonna behave this way." Right? It's this bizarre logic, bizarre thinking. Everyone hit the like button, hit the share button, hit up the Cash App, and also hit up the GoFundMe. That'll help me fund my legal defense uh, against the biggest transit agency in the United States. They have buildings full of lawyers, and so I can't compete with that. So send as much as you can. So, but this is gonna be a short live. But thank you for joining me, and have a good night. Okay, and I'll see you tomorrow. Right? And I forgot one topic. Cuba. Why does everyone forget about Cuba? Right? Everyone forgets about Cuba. Why we always forget about Cuba? Right? 'Cause the United States wants Cuba off the map. Right? So high level US delegation visits Cuba as Trump ups pressure. Right? Let's listen for it. He's quoting Bill Clinton. Oh, he's saying that Cuba might be next. As soon as he finishes with Iran, which he hasn't been able to finish. Remember, he said it was going to be 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Now it's going to go on 2 months that we've been dealing with Iran. So at this point, he could be reporting to Congress, uh, asking for a declaration of war, because that's what it is, right? That's what it is. It's a war at this point. And it's also a war with the American people, with our tax dollars, pumping money into the gas and pumping money into energy. The rich are still getting rich, they're getting richer, and us, the regular people, are struggling with everyday life. So I appreciate you all. Thanks for joining me, and hopefully, uh, they'll, Cuba won't be attacked overnight. Greenland won't be taken, and there'll be a ceasefire among the people involved in the Iran nuclear deal. There should be an email exchange and records public. So I see you tomorrow. Take care of yourself. My name is Dulce Garcia from New York, live from New York. Thank you so much. Am I losing my voice? It's raspy, right? I might be losing my voice. But I got you, the people. You, the people, are the best. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you tomorrow. right, for the same daily podcast and stream. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good night.